No, I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before. I mean, it's shaped like a big M. It's a big cave that looks just like a gigantic M. And something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate. The closer I got to it, the crazier my body felt, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go in there right now, but I'm coming back someday.
The Mojave Desert, a place where silence rules, and the unforgiving terrain swallows those who aren't prepared. It's a land of secrets and isolation, of the worst extremes that lures in truth-seeking adrenaline junkies, making sure that they're never seen again. Unfortunately, self-proclaimed adventurer, experienced hiker, and YouTuber Kenny Veach might have been one of those. In 2014, Kenny vanished without a trace, while searching for something in the deserts, something quite strange. A cave that had haunted him since the day he found it. It's been a decade since he disappeared, and the entire mystery around his disappearance has yet to be solved. So today we revisit the chilling story of Kenny Veach as we try to find out whether we are any closer to uncovering the truth behind his disappearance. Now you see, Kenny wasn't just your regular hiker. The then 47-year-old had a reputation for exploring dangerous, remote places, often venturing alone into the depths of the Mojave and Nevada deserts. He liked to collect interesting souvenirs, like animal bones and old animal traps from his hikes, which he used to decorate his home. He also liked doing a lot of his exploring alone, probably his way of really testing the boundaries of his human capabilities. And then he would post his adventures on his YouTube channel, Snakebit McGee, gathering a large following of people that like to live vicariously through him and push him to go on even riskier adventures. This heady combination is a big part of how Kenny found himself in a mess that he couldn't come back from in November of 2014. It all started with a chilling comment that Kenny posted in the comments section of a YouTube video titled "Son of an Area 51 Technician," just months before he vanished. He was basically trying to one-up the owner of the video, proving to them that he had experienced something even more spooky. In that comment, Kenny narrates to the readers how he found a really scary cave near Nellis Air Force Base. According to him, the entrance of the cave was shaped like a capital M and gave off some creepy vibes, and apparently as he got closer to the cave, his whole body started to vibrate. He wrote, "I always enter every cave I find, but as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly, I became very scared and hightailed it out of there. That was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me." The description of a cave that seemed to emit a strange vibration was both fascinating and terrifying. What could cause such an effect? Where did it come from? And how had it managed to remain hidden until Kenny found it? Theories range from natural phenomena like geographical anomalies and magnetic fields to more supernatural explanations like the presence of aliens, but nothing really stuck. Still, you can imagine why this kind of cave would scare off even an adrenaline junkie like Kenny. However, while Kenny did not enter the cave that one time, there was no denying that it left a mark on him, evidenced by the fact that he felt the need to share. He just couldn't help thinking and talking about the M-shaped cave and its weird vibe. In that same comment, he went on about how he goes where no one goes, how he finds really strange things, how he hikes over mountaintops and sleeps on peaks, and how he has only ever needed rescue one time. Yet nothing has terrified him as much as the cave did. However, many who read that post were not having any of that. They wanted more than just speculation, even though it was coming from an experienced hiker like Kenny. They wanted to see what was inside the cave, if it actually existed, but of course they were unwilling to make the trip themselves, so they poked and prodded, daring Kenny to actually enter into the cave and bring back video evidence. It was basically a case of pics or it didn't happen, and you best believe that Kenny couldn't resist a challenge. Despite his fear of the cave, he was determined to prove that it was real. So, armed with a 9mm handgun because he still valued his life, and a video camera, Kenny made a second trip to find the mysterious cave in October 2014. Unfortunately, from the video he posted upon his return titled M Cave Hike, He wasn't able to find the mysterious cave on his second trip. The video showed him wandering the area, but it didn't reveal any clues that could point viewers to any of the mystery that he alluded to in the initial comment. Now you would have to admit that this seems mighty convenient. Right when Kenny was asked to provide evidence for the tall tales he had told, he conveniently could not find the cave. So you can imagine what the comment section was like. There were people there who just went off calling Kenny a fraud and a liar who was just looking to make money off gullible viewers. Yet other people were focused on convincing him to try finding the cave again. Whether or not these people believed that there was a cave like that is up for discussion, but many of them really tried to get him to go back, most likely for their own enjoyment. However, there was this one comment that was different. It was posted by a user called Lemmy Killmister, and it simply read, "No, do not go back there. If you find that cave entrance, don't go in. If you do, you won't get out." Very ominous, isn't it? Now, many of us might have seen this comment and been spooked enough to not venture into the cave anymore. After all, the one time that Kenny encountered the cave, he felt weird vibrations that scared him. This one comment should have been the sign he needed to forget about his adventures and avoid the cave. So it has to be that Kenny did not read that comment. Either that, or he is more courageous, more thrill-seeking, or less self-preserving than most of us. Whatever the case, Kenny decided to go back in search of the M Cave for the third time, and that would prove to be a terrible decision. November 10th, 2024 was the day that he decided to go on what would become a fatal journey. He told his family that he was going on an overnight trip, so it sounds like he planned for this to be a quick thing. Spot the cave, document it to shut the critics up, and then make it back home to prepare for other adventures. No one knew that that would be the last time they ever saw Kenny, dead or alive. When Kenny did not return from his overnight hike, he was reported missing and search and rescue teams were immediately dispatched. They knew to scour the region that Kenny was supposed to have been exploring because of his M Cave YouTube videos. They searched for days, but there was no sign of Kenny, no body, no trail, nothing. Well, almost nothing. After days of searching, precisely on the 24th of November, Kenny's phone was found, abandoned near the entrance of an old mine shaft. This was the exact location where Kenny was in the video he posted before his disappearance, where he was talking about the cave that he was looking for. And this seemed to solve the mystery about where Kenny had gone before he vanished. He had definitely gone in search of the M Cave. Unfortunately, that was all that was found, and according to the search and rescue team, the trail ran cold after the mine. So many wondered, had Kenny fallen into the mine? Well, the search teams inspected the mine as well as they could, but they turned up with nothing. Sure, the walls of the mine shaft were steep and unstable, making a fall a logical assumption, but if he had fallen in, there should have been some kind of evidence, maybe even a body. There was nothing. No signs of a fall and no clues to suggest that Kenny had met his end there. It's been more than 10 years since that unfortunate incident, and there are still no traces of Kenny. But the many speculations surrounding his disappearance have only continued to evolve, contributing to keeping his memory alive. One of such speculations is, interestingly, tied to Area 51. Yes, the Area 51. You see, just a few miles from where Kenny likely disappeared lies Area 51, the epicenter of conspiracy theories and government secrets. You already know what the speculations around that are. Could Kenny have stumbled upon something that he wasn't supposed to? Has he been silenced by the government because they don't want certain secrets getting out? Was Kenny's disappearance actually a tragic accident, or had he uncovered something so classified it led to his demise? There are even a number of theories that make these questions seem kind of plausible, depending on the size of your tinfoil hat. One of such theories is that Kenny's M Cave actually housed an otherworldly creature that the government was keeping hidden. Another theory says that the M Cave is the entrance to an underground military outfit, using the strange vibrations that Kenny mentioned as proof that what he actually heard was military activity. The one thing that these theories have in common is that Kenny was intentionally silenced, most likely by the government to keep a secret from getting out. Most people don't agree with this, though, which is why other theories exist. For instance, there are people who wonder, What if Kenny did find the cave again? And what if there was something inside it, something that didn't want to be found? Some have pointed to ancient Native American legends about the land, stories of spirits and guardians who protect the desert from intruders. According to these tales, the desert isn't as empty as it seems. Instead, it has the power to be whatever it needs to be to protect itself. So, could Kenny have encountered something supernatural? A force that no one had warned him about? Well, except for that one comment under his YouTube video. Come to think of it, could this be what that one commenter was talking about? Could the commenter have known about the legend of the land and tried to warn Kenny about it? Many of you probably immediately dismiss this possibility because it just does not make realistic sense. But then again, stranger things have happened, like a man completely disappearing without a trace. Anyway, if you are not buying the government manhunts and supernatural theories, you're probably one of the many who believe that the simplest explanation is the most likely, that Kenny, despite his experience, made a fatal mistake in the desert. He mentioned one time that he had only ever needed and received rescuing once in all of his adventures. According to him, he had blown out his left leg at the top of a mountain and had to be airlifted to a hospital. He is also famous for taking risks during his hikes. One time he even claimed to play with rattlesnakes for fun and got a kick out of exploring caves and abandoned mines in areas with minimal cell coverage. So maybe what is now being considered his disappearance was the one time that he needed rescuing but couldn't get it. Maybe he wandered too far, lost his bearings, or suffered from dehydration. Maybe he tried to prove himself to his viewers or himself and took the wrong kind of risks. These are many maybes, but out there, miles from help. It doesn't take much for the wilderness to become a deadly place. What's more, his phone was found. So, if he was in a dire situation, he wouldn't have been able to call for help, assuming there was even cell coverage. Still, if that's the case, if there's any credence to the theory, why then hasn't his body ever been found? If it was a hiking accident, shouldn't his lifeless body be somewhere? Shouldn't it have been found? All these are questions that nobody has been able to give an answer to. Well, not unless you consider death by wild animals a possibility. Apparently, the Mojave Desert is home to wild animals like rattlesnakes, mountain lions, and coyotes. So there's a significant possibility that Kenny met his tragic end at the hands of one or some of these animals, especially if he tried hiking at night. And it could explain the fact that his body has still not been found. There's another possibility that people are really considering, though, and it was shared by this one lady that claimed to be Kenny's girlfriend, Sherian Pilgrim. You see, a while after the search for Kenny had turned up empty, a post by a strange woman appeared under Kenny's M Cave hike video. The woman claimed to be Kenny's girlfriend, and she talked about how she had been on a number of hiking adventures with him, many of them quite daring. She talked about how they had explored the length and breadth of the Nevada desert, sometimes hiking for 9 hours in a day, found abandoned mining towns, and explored their fair share of caves and mine shafts. However, according to her, Kenny was willing to take a lot more risks than she was ever comfortable with. They tried to be as careful as possible together, but Kenny always itched for something more, which is probably why he did most of his hiking and exploration on his own. As to why she was posting in the first place, she claimed that she wanted to give Kenny's viewers some closure and also to help them to see the need to take stringent precautions if they ever decide to go looking for the M Cave themselves. But what exactly did she say might have happened to Kenny? Well, she thinks he might have offed himself. Here's a part of what she wrote. I want you to know that I do not think Kenny had an accident. I believe he committed suicide. He battled depression for many years and would not take medication or see a doctor. He quit his job a little more than a year before he disappeared. They did find his cell phone by the mine shaft in the video. The mine shaft was only about a 4-hour hike from his car. It is my feeling he left it behind so that he could not be tracked from the GPS in it. He also did not take his video camera with him on this solo hike. It was left in his home. So he had no intention of filming anything. It has since been confirmed that Kenny did in fact quit his job before his disappearance. He worked as a service technician for a coffee company but decided to send in his resignation to become an inventor. It was during this time that he came up with what he considered an improved version of a toilet paper holder, and he believed so much in the product that he submitted it to Shark Tank for sponsorship. That's not the only weird thing, though. Kenny had also tried to sell his house before he disappeared. However, there was a strange condition attached to that sale. He wanted whoever bought the house to hire him as a caretaker and to allow him to continue to decorate the home in his own style. As you would imagine, no one was willing to take him up on that offer. But all of that to say that Kenny was moving weird before his unfortunate disappearance. Anyway, back to the woman. Was she actually his girlfriend? Maybe. There's no way to prove or disprove that. But if she actually was, what she said seems a lot more plausible than all the speculations about otherworldly creatures and government conspiracies. Everything that she wrote just lines up perfectly, from battling depression and quitting his job to the search team finding his phone. And if he actually went M-cave hunting without a video camera, this might even be a more plausible explanation for his disappearance than a fatal accident. There's another speculation that is a slight deviation from what his supposed girlfriend wrote, though. This speculation agrees that Kenny did want to disappear, but disagrees that he offed himself. Instead, some people believe that Kenny was tired of the life he had in Nevada and so decided to run away and start a new life somewhere else. They actually do believe that Kenny Veach is somewhere living a quiet life and getting a kick out of all the theories he's reading online. There are many things about the Kenny Veach mystery that remain unknown, but what we do know is that the M-cave has never been definitely located, and no one knows what became of the man that went searching for it. Kenny Veach went out trying to uncover the secrets of the Mojave Desert, but it looks like the desert has managed to hold on to its secret for a while longer.